Hey, everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner, and I have a very special guest in the corner who knows how to code and doesn't voice act, so this should be very interesting. I love you, voice actors. Would you like to unveil your secret identity to the masses?
Yeah, I'm Josh Fabian, and I'm the guy behind Hummingbird, the anime recommendation engine.
Now I feel like you're a superhero in a hummingbird costume.
I'm actually wearing one now, so it's appropriate.
Oh, perfect. Now, I know that a lot of the fans know about Hummingbird because we posted the press release, and a lot of people in our live chat were talking about it and things like that. But for people who might not have heard, can you explain a little bit what it is?
Yeah, so basically, what Hummingbird is um, it's a comprehensive recommendation engine in that you can come to the site and you can say, these are the anime titles that I've watched. This is what I liked, and this is what I didn't like. And based on your interests, we'll show you new anime that we think you'll like. Um, and that would be that would be selected mathematically.
I don't know
So
anything about math because I failed it, but it sounds pretty complicated. Not just, hey, I like this anime, and I think you would like this anime too.
right, it is. So I'm our lead developer, Vikyath Korpati. He is brilliant. Um, he's going to one of the premier tech schools in India. And to give you a bit of context, that school gets about 400,000 applications a year, and only about 7,000 people actually get into the school for computer science.
Wow,
So it's
wow.
really impressive. And he's the genius behind the algorithm and actually developing things, while I'll be handling all of the front end code and design.
Well, now I can't help but be curious, how do you find yourself involved with a project like this? Was it just anime fans joining together and being like, this would be cool, or was it something a little bit more in depth?
Uh, so it's kind of funny. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I just recently moved to Chicago for a job at a startup as the lead designer. And it's a great job. And in that job, I got comfortable. So every day I would just come home and I'd watch anime with the fiance until bed, and I'd rinse and repeat. And then I got to the point where I didn't have anything else to watch. I didn't know where to go to find new anime to watch. So I did Googling and I found my anime lists and I found Anime Planet and the various recommendation engines, if you want to call them that. Um, and none of them really worked well for my needs. And as a designer, none of them looked how I wanted them to look for something I want to use every day. So then I thought to myself, well, let's try to build it ourselves. And I got in touch with a friend of mine who came to Chicago to develop Ruby on Rails. It's a programming language, and he agreed to work with me. And then we got started on Hummingbird, and one of his startups actually started doing really well. And that was about the same time Vicky F contacted me. So he decided to back off the project to work on his own project, which is definitely going to blow up and do well. Um, so yeah, it's uh, it's been pretty chaotic, but we're finally like stabilized and getting things moving.
Well, now you have, the team in place, and I'm sure it's easier to bounce off of each other now that you have the dynamic down and everything.
Hmm.
Because I can understand we were been in that place too, in back in 2010 we were launching the radio and we didn't know what we were doing, but we hoped it would be good. So I can understand probably the same emotions that you're feeling since, Hummingbird is about to launch soon.
Yeah, yeah, it's scary. We posted once I finished the landing page, I posted to Reddit's anime section, right before I went to bed. And then when I woke up in the morning, we had received over 2,000 new signups, and we were on the front page of Reddit Anime, which was absolutely insane.
I can't do that. I can't throw something onto a social networking site like that is a big project like this and go to sleep. I would be in my bed being like, what are people saying? Let me just check on my phone here. Um, See, I can't do that. So more willpower to you.
Yeah, it was definitely scary, and particularly like the larger social networks like Reddit and and I mean 4chan and like Dig, if anyone uses that. Uh, when people are anonymous, it makes it easy to be really mean.
Mm-hmm.
So we had like, I think we got like 150 or so comments, and about half of those weren't very nice. And like reading the comments, I kept thinking maybe this isn't a good idea. Then I look at our analytics, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, 2,000 people signed up today. In like 6 hours, 2,000 people signed up. So it's mixed. You got a lot of people that are very, very vocal, and then the people who aren't saying anything are the people who are actually interested.
I've experienced that too. We have so many listeners that just don't join our live channel or anything like that. So I have no idea what their feedback is, but I know they tune in every single day. And it's so surreal to know that there's this audience that doesn't want to say anything to you when the channel is open?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Well, now, in terms of, negative feedback, I just want to say I hope that doesn't get you guys down at all because, it's the internet first off, and it's
Yeah,
anime fans.
it's actually really motivating, because if we're getting negative feedback at all, it means people are passionate about this. They care enough not to blow it off. So it's kind of motivating because I know we hit a nerve, whether it's a good nerve or a bad nerve, we'll find out. But I mean, we definitely found a spot where people are concerned about. Like they're either really advocating the current sites they use, like my anime list, or they're really looking for a change. So I mean, people don't word it the best sometimes, but oh no, I'm happy with the feedback, even if it is sometimes bad.
Well, I said behind the scenes prior to this interview that way back when myanimelist.net first started, I was one of the forum moderators and anime like administrators or database administrators or whatever it was. I was 16 years old. I'm 21 now for reference. And I was felt really strongly about that website at the time too. But as I grew older, I I thought that maybe the site would turn to support the industry a little bit more. And it seemed as the site began to grow, it began to support, fan subs and things like that, which to me isn't fair to the industry and isn't fair to the voice actors or any of the people involved. So I don't use the site anymore. It's just completely off my radar. I know that there are people who work very hard on it, but I can't bring myself to really use it anymore.
Right.
And so
Uh,
I think with you guys it'll be a little bit easier though since it's a recommendation system, so you won't necessarily be pointing to fan subs.
yeah. I guess calling it a recommendation engine isn't the best way of describing it, but
Hmm.
I think it's the fairest way of describing it. Only because we're gonna have just as much content as my anime list has, and to an extent, anime DB has, including things such as like trailers and screen grabs. Um, but like I said, like you said, I want to support the industry. I want to make it easier for people to get into anime. I want to make it easier for anime to get over here. So we're going to be steering clear of things like fan subs and places to like download the torrents. And if people still do it, that's fine. I just don't want to facilitate that.
I mean, there's enough places online where you can watch the shows legally and you don't even have to pay for it. You
I,
know, you've got things like Hulu and Netflix, which sometimes you have to pay for it. You have the Funimation, the Crunchyrolls, you have all of those places, and you have the option of paying for it if you like the service. For example, Crunchyroll, I love you, but I only pay for your service if I have something I want to watch on your service, which is like every 2 months. Usually I'm paying for Funimation and not Crunchyroll because I don't use Crunchyroll all the time.
Gotcha. I use Crunchyroll. I haven't really checked out Funimation's service yet, which is funny.
I just really prefer Funimation's player because well, it's bigger and I like having it in a nice, 720p. And I have weird issues with the Crunchyroll player where if I pause it for a long time because I just have a tendency to multitask or pause and do something else, it loses my place or it fast forwards me to the next episode. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not done yet.
Yeah, you pretty much have to commit to watching that in one sitting, or else you're done.
Yeah, I'm
They're
I'm
really bad about that,
I'm
actually.
horrible at that. I can't do it. I guess it's just a short attention span.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Well, now, one thing that I'm kind of curious with Hummingbird is how do you think, how do you think your community is going to form? Because obviously it's to recommend anime and things like that, but will you be having forums or social media or ways for an audience to get involved?
So that's actually something we're discussing.
Mhm.
The team and myself are discussing, only because I want to approach it carefully, because if we just throw a forum up there and there's nothing there, nobody wants to join a ghost town, right? So it has to be inviting. So we're considering a lot of different things. One thing is a forum, like you mentioned. Another option is more of a Reddit format where the community kind of votes up topics, and that kind of eliminates the ghost forum issue where you have all these sections and nobody's posting in them, and it makes it look like a really lonely place. So I'm not really sure the best way to kind of kickstart the community, um, but we're gonna try out a few different things, and maybe get some community feedback via our Facebook page and kind of see what people want. You know.
Well, for the listeners out there, where can they keep up to date on Facebook and Twitter or whatever other social media you have?
So our Facebook page is linked on our homepage or on our landing page, which is hummingbird.ly, and our Twitter we update regularly too, like with contest information and things like that. We actually just finished a contest with users were able to post pretty much a story about like how anime has impacted their lives, and then the best three stories or submissions, we gave them a month of Crunchyroll. So it's just little things like that to kind of keep the community engaged, and kind of get that community started and talking to each other.
That's definitely a good way to do it. You'd be surprised how many guests I have on and they don't have a Twitter or Facebook. Granted, you guys aren't necessarily trying to promote yourself like an actor, you're trying to promote a company, so there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Now, are there any other features or anything else that you want to point out to the listeners who are interested in Hummingbird?
No, I mean, pretty much what we're going to be doing is what sites like My Anime List are doing, but better. I guess the best way to think of it is think of it like a mixture of Rotten Tomatoes and My Anime Lists, all wrapped into one bundle of love.
As long as I can actually understand the ratings, because I don't understand what Rotten Tomatoes does with their ratings ever.
Yeah, so I think that's a problem a lot of people have, and the issue with like 5-star rating systems and 10-star rating systems, which I think is what My Anime List uses, is that people are inherently lazy. So what they'll do is, they'll if they like something or they really like something, they'll vote like an 8, which just happens to be like what the majority of My Anime List users have voted. Um, I don't know the exact percentage, but I know it's pretty high, like above 50%. I voted 8 on everything, so it's really skewed, and that means it messes up recommendations too. So the approach we're taking is you either liked an anime or you didn't like an anime. There's definitely a middle ground there. Like there are some animes where you're kind of just like, I kind of like that, but that's not the kind of anime you want to find anyways, right? Like you want to find an anime you're gonna love. So we take the anime that you really loved and the anime that you really didn't like, and then we show you recommendations based on that. So it's a binary system, and it makes ratings easier, and that means more people will rate because it's easier.
Now, from what I know from the press releases, people can import their lists from various other sites, correct?
Yeah. So for our MVP or our minimum viable product, we're probably only going to have My Anime List support. Only because I don't know that Anime Planet even has an open API. I think it's a one-way API where you can import from other sites into there, but you can't like remove product or remove your information. So we'll definitely have My Anime Lists support in the beginning, and I guess after that we're gonna see like what the community wants. If they want to see imported from other sites, we'll work with those sites and see if we can make deals or make something happen.
Now, what I like here is that you seem very focused on the community, so the fans seem like a really high priority as well.
Yeah, I mean it's everything, right? It's without a community we don't have anything, and that goes for the whole industry. You know, when you go to the anime conventions, that's all the community there. Um, and I want to see that keep growing in the industry. And you know that I think we've come a long way with anime, in at least in the U.S. But I think we still have a long way to go before I can, for example, go to work and talk about anime publicly without looking silly.
It's okay. I understand that feel. If I go
Yeah,
outside, the only thing, it's like, what have you been doing? Well, I've been playing video games and watching cartoons and oh, this is my dentist I'm talking to.
yeah, exactly. You know, I want to get anime where video games are now. Like now, it's okay to talk about video games. Like nobody cares anymore. Video games are completely mainstream at this point. But anime isn't quite there yet, and that's the goal.
And I can understand that because it's funny, and I said this in a recent interview, so I'll bring it up again. My brother has this tendency, even though I've done this as a career for about 3 years, to be like, "Oh, it's just that anime thing." The same thing with my mom, just that Japanese thing.
Yeah,
Like it's not anything past that. However, I've gotten more response from my brother's little kids because I've gotten them to watch like Spirited Away and other Ghibli films and things like that. So the fact that I have 8-year-olds acknowledging my career more than my 60-year-old mother is kind of odd.
yeah,
So I'm hoping that becomes easier to explain in the future and talk about. So I'm
yeah.
with you.
And I think that's the only way to do it. You know, is to make it more mainstream. You know, with a name, I think people can get behind too. You know, I think we were calling ourselves like anime crazy maniacs or something or something like that. Nobody would be able to take it seriously.
Well, and then you also have stigmas where, video games are still blamed for violence all the time. So if you're called
Right.
anime crazy maniacs, you're gonna have politicians being like, well, now it's anime's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll find something to blame.
Yeah, definitely. Sword Art Online, the reason kids are dying in front of their computers playing
Oh, dang.
WoW. Yeah. I will say though, one thing that I thought was kind of curious was the color scheme because it's very clean, but
Mhm.
the pop of color is the orange. And I was like, it's a little bit interesting to me because as an anime fan, when we think of orange, we think of Crunchyroll, or at least I do. So was that just the best thing that looked good, or what?
Not completely. uh, so I work in I have a lot of experience working with startups,
Hmm.
and um, I know how to growth hack. In that I know how to make a product and make that product approachable for other people. And anytime you put something new in the market, people are going to be apprehensive.
Hmm.
So by sticking with a safe color scheme, like the orange accents that Crunchyroll uses, we kind of get that indirect affiliation and in turn trust, which might sound a little shady, but that's I mean you see that in other places too.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a business decision. I can't.
yeah,
This is a conversation I'm actually in with anime fans a lot when it comes to the industry. It's like, well, they changed something in my precious anime. And it's like, it was a business decision as well. So you have to look at it from, what will make them money and support them, and what will make your product popular, what will make Hummingbird popular. So I understand from a business standpoint.
yeah, and I mean that doesn't mean we're not going to change later on down the road. Um, but I think the color scheme works, particularly because we're not competing with Crunchyroll for one, so it's not that we're trying to take money from them. Um, if anything, we complement them in that we provide in-depth recommendations that they can then use to find new anime to watch on Crunchyroll, as well as Netflix and Hulu and sites like that. Um, but I think it's important to really just get in with the community, and I want people to understand like this is similar to Crunchyroll, and that's completely legal. You know, I think that's another important distinction that needed to be made.
Well, I like it. I have the mock-up image, I believe, and I like how everything looks. It feels very easy to get to everything. I'm not bogged down with like a ton of extra stuff I just don't need. It's just very
Yeah,
simple and easy to use from what I can tell. So I can't wait until it's finally live.
yeah, you and me both.
Well, do you guys have a date that you're looking at or anything like that?
Yeah, so we're shooting for the end of February. We don't have like a solid date confirmed yet, but we're definitely shooting for the month of February at some point to launch. Whether that's like in the middle of February or the end, we're not sure, but definitely at some point in February. So that's exciting, and it's scary to have a deadline. so,
The
so we'll see.
3 weeks leading up, you'll only have 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, exactly. But I've
Once
got a good team, so I think we'll be able to pull it off.
once again, I know that feeling. But I'm excited. I can't wait to see, how this turns out. And I know that the listeners are very excited. I know that the live chat was having some very interesting discussions when it comes to Hummingbird. So I think that it's definitely got a lot of anime fans just talking, which I think is always a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Which is and it's weird, it's weird to go to. I went to a site called Kani. It's for learning to read like kanji, and I jumped into the forums and I saw that somebody posted about Hummingbird in the forums. So it was weird seeing people talking about it without my hand being in it at all. So it's taking on a life of its own.
Well, just keep rocking the baby and hopefully it'll grow up and be able to walk on its own.
Yeah.
But no, I can't wait. Like it's a project that I hope to use every day. Like it's a product that as an anime fan, I'm excited to see. So I could keep saying that over and over and over again, but it's still not going to make it come out faster.
It might. You never know.
Yes. 91.8 the fan beta access? Yeah. No, I'm kidding. But is there anything else though that you want to tell the listeners? Is there any other place where they can keep up to date on what's going on with Hummingbird?
I mean, mostly the biggest thing is, and I know this was a big point of contention on Reddit, but on our landing page, we're taking email signups, and what that's doing is that's one that's showing us your interest. It's showing us that you're interested in the site, and you want to see it go live. And then two, it's giving us a direct feed into your life, and that we can contact you and we can tell you, we're launching the beta, or we can tell you we're launching this new contest. So that's the best way to get news from us. But I know a lot of people aren't comfortable sharing their emails. And in the event that you're not, your best bet is Twitter or Facebook. So, but yeah, definitely email. Email is the biggest thing because it really shows us your interest. If we got another 2,000 signups tomorrow, we'd be like, okay, well, we need to take this even more seriously. Maybe we'll take some days off work and let's get this done faster. So.
Okay, so all the live chat, all that out there, right now you need to go sign up to make it come out faster. Just saying.
That's it. Go sign up. Do that.
Well, this has been very fun, but since we're nearing the end of this interview, I was wondering if you'd be willing to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Of course. Let's do it.
Basically, we ask if you'd be willing to do a bump for us or say a line for us, whether you're a voice actor or not.
Yeah.
Coolio. If you screw up the line, though, everybody hears the mess up.
Actually, I actually want them to. I might screw up on purpose.
Oh, okay. Well, don't tell me that. Jeez.
Only joking.
No, I'm kidding. Basically, we ask if you could say, hello, my name is, you insert your name. I do this. You can say that you're in charge of Hummingbird or whatever title you wish to use. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Got it.
So whenever you're ready.
Hey, this is Josh Fabian, the founder of Hummingbird, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
You didn't even need a blooper. Look at you.
Oh, yeah.
Next
I've
career.
been practicing in the mirror before this.
In the mirror. We don't even film you. Well, maybe we are. You just don't know.
Yeah, I figured you guys were filming me on the low, so I put my makeup on.
Oh gosh. Now that since I can see a picture of you, it's kind of scary to imagine you with makeup. No offense. Now, for the listeners out there, is there anything, specific that you want to tell them? Any words of wisdom or dating advice or anything else you want them to know about Hummingbird?
No, just that we're trying to do a good thing here. We're not trying to make a ton of money because this obviously isn't very profitable for us. Um, the biggest thing is we're just trying to make the community better. So, I mean, any support we can get from you guys in way of suggestions on features you'd like to see, or even just throwing up a forum post on any forums you visit or a Facebook post, just to kind of spread the word about the site, would go a long way in getting our message out and in helping us launch this site.
Well, the best way that the anime community seems to run is by word of mouth. So if people get talking, I hope that they head on over to your site.
Yeah, me too.
And for anybody out there that missed any of this interview, shame on you, but don't fret, it'll be up on the website within the next few days, so keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan, everything you want and nothing you don't.